Welcome, professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan, the ultimate pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. This is episode 153. Can you believe it? I am your host, collector, barber, musician, and most importantly, a professional wrestling podcaster, Talk Wrestling Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Booker Andy.
I'm also host of the No Selling Wrestling Indie Fan and football lover, Jeremy.
And
I just have to say a quick thing, actually, because I was editing the last episode. I know I wasn't on it. But pineapple does not belong on pizza.
when it has jalapenos and bacon and ham, there's an exception. I'm with you. I was an anti-pineapple guy for years, and this is a great segue. The drummer of my band's wife, one night, we all were having some nice drinks, maybe smoking some stuff, and she said, "Hey, have you ever had this combo?" And I was like, "No," and I don't like pineapple on pizza. And she was like, "Just give it a shot. The sweet from the pineapple and the spice from the jalapeno is a great combo." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And she's like, "And the salt from the bacon." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And then I did, and my mind was changed. Now, I will say, as a quick segue, and I don't think these two guys will mind, my band Fall Bright, FALLBRIGHT, all one word, has worked really hard for the last year on these two songs, and we got one song called Burning Blue coming out on Friday on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. So it would really mean a lot to old Talk Wrestling Tim if y'all would check it out. But enough with some shameless self-promotion DX style. Andy, let's pass it over to you. And at the end, we will get into the social media stuff, but let's just jump right into the show. And then at the end, we'll talk about, YouTube and all that stuff.
All right. This week we're going to be talking about Fright Night Dynamite, which had a debut of a superstar at the end of it. We're going to be talking about Crown Jewel and the week leading up to it, and more. So before we get into our actual shows, let's talk about... I know I talked about this with you, Tim, but Jeremy, I'm sure you saw some of the releases that happened. So Baron Corbin, I read, chose not to re-sign.
This was the most shocking one for me.
Yeah.
His most recent stuff, he was doing a stint in NXT. He teamed up with Braun Breaker, and then Braun Breaker got caught up. And then Baron came back up here, did a little bit with Apollo Crews. Not much. You might not even remember because it was so little. But after 12 years with the WWE, I saw that he hadn't re-signed. Then Tegan Knox had been released. She had been with the company for a while. If I'm not mistaken, though, she got hurt a lot. Kind of like Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai gets hurt a lot, too. And then Indy Hartwell was surprising because WWE has been promoting her on social media with Candice LeRae and their Halloween outfits and other social media content. But also she was released, but was shown on the pre-taped Smackdown this week, teaming up with Candice LeRae. So, I'm sure all of them are going to stick with the wrestling business, just not in WWE for right now.
I was kind of surprised. I mean, obviously Baron Corbin, but Indy Hartwell and a few others, I don't know. I feel like they could have made it pretty well in WWE. Yeah. I feel like they fit pretty well, at least in NXT.
It's interesting. I mean, Baron Corbin's one of those guys where I feel like he tried so many different things and between the lone wolf character and Happy Corbin, and then he went back to a serious character,
Sad Corbin.
Yeah, they tried so many things. I don't know. Maybe for him.
Remember, he was a GM for a while.
Mm-hmm.
King Corbin was also a thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he probably made great money financially. But I understand how it is from a artistic point of view. Sometimes the money is great and everything, but you want to feel financially, or sorry, not financially, you want to feel artistically fulfilled. And he probably has a lot of money and he's still a young guy. And he's like, look, like Ricochet and other people, it's like, I still got some things I'd like to do. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be given the opportunity here. It has nothing to do with what money you guys pay me. And that's the thing. It's not money. I mean, money's great, but like, I'm sure you want like a little bit of. At this point, he's like what, in his 40s. He's probably got a lot of money. He just wants to like do some cool stuff before he, is finished. And I understand that. Bobby Lashley,
is he gonna? Do you think?
He's got only a little bit of time left. Christian, there's guys that like can go to AEW or TNA, like Dolph Ziggler, and maybe do some cool storylines and stuff before they end their career.
Do you think Baron Corbin is still going to go like wrestle and everything? Because I know he does like other things, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure,
like acting or something.
I'm not sure where he ends up. I don't picture him as an AEW guy. If anything, I picture him more of like a Nick Nemeth guy, or a Zack Ryder guy, where he maybe reinvents himself on the indies, like how Matt Cardona did, aka Zack Ryder, or a lot of guys go on the indies and they kind of find, first of all, you get all this money from doing all this autograph tour. Once you get released from WWE, you can do all these indie promotions and conventions, and you make all this money from doing that, and then you kind of get a chance to like reinvent yourself. So I don't think this is the end for Baron Corbin, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. He's definitely one of the people that could at least, maybe not. I would suggest not jumping ship to a company like AEW right now, but going like the independent route. Do the Matt Cardona route.
Do the Matt Cardona Cody Rhodes thing. You hit the indies, do the big autograph signing, make a bunch of money, appear places, do like a cool maybe like heel turn. I don't know, something to like stand out, like to change your perception. I actually always liked Baron Corbin. I just don't think he's ever, just something hasn't really clicked all the way. I don't know.
Yeah, there's been times when he's had really good matches. It's not like he was like amazing all the time, but like I do remember like some matches that were really good that he had.
No, he had some banger NXT matches as the Lone Wolf character. And then
that was probably his best character.
I mean, that's my favorite. And then, later on, it's not like he's not entertaining. He's very funny. Like the sad Corbin when he was like broke was like genuinely funny,
Yeah, that was funny. And also his finisher, I think, is one of the coolest looking finishers.
End of Days.
Yeah, it has a great name to it.
Hardly anyone, if I remember, kicked out of it.
Yeah, who was it that kicked out of it? And I feel like people were like, that was a waste or something. It was a while ago, I think, but someone did.
Cena.
Yeah, I know it was like kind of a big deal when it happened. I can't remember exactly though who did it. So outside of the actual shows, that's the only stuff basically outside the shows, and then we can just get right into it. So Dynamite Fright Night, or Fright Night Dynamite is what they were calling it, happened this week. Kind of Halloween themed, similar to, I guess, NXT, the way they do it. Orange Cassidy, though, would open up the show. If I remember correctly, he was, actually, I rewatched this promo with Tim, but he pretty much talked about how he didn't want to step up and be the guy to go after Mox and the gang. But after the Chuck Taylor attack, he kind of realized he had to. So then he ended up challenging Mox during this promo to a match at Full Gear for the AEW World Championship. Adam Cole had a match with Buddy Matthews, who in the end he defeated him. Afterwards, and shown, I believe they shook hands. The lights went black.
Yeah.
And
well, they were shaking hands while the lights went black.
Yeah. The lights went black, and when they came back on, Cole wasn't shaking Buddy Matthews' hand anymore. He was shaking Malachi Black's hand, which that match between those two is set for this coming week. And I remember when I first saw this, I was like, oh, that'll be cool to see. And I was like, wait, saw this in NXT a couple times during the black and gold era. Then we had on stage a Kyle Fletcher promo. Just still reiterating this whole he's no longer like Will Ospreay gimmick. He called out Ospreay. Yeah. Ospreay did not come out. Instead, Mark Davis, his old tag team partner from Aussie Open?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, yeah, the whole group was United Empire.
Yeah, they were Aussie Open.
Yeah, okay. So Mark Davis was kind of the guy stuck in the middle, and Kyle Fletcher pretty much said eventually he'll have to pick a side. Backstage, Hangman Adam Page would send a warning to Jay White ahead of their Full Gear match. And then, I'm just reading my notes. I keep calling them Moxley and the Gang because I don't want to call them Black Club anymore. So Moxley and the Gang.
Moxley and the Gang.
And the Gang.
Yeah. Mox came out. He cut a promo.
They went down to...
Responding to Orange.
Actually, Moxley and the Gang went down to Lover's Lane, had a couple malts, and then went down to the diner, had a couple burgers with the boys. That's what that sounds like to me. Just some like 1950s.
Moxley and the Gang.
Moxley and the Gang.
Yeah. It's like black and white and everything.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Black Craft Cult?
Dude, I got school stuff going. I'm trying to...
Andy is in a group project.
Things at once, man.
And everyone knows how group projects are.
So, Mox cut a promo responding to Orange Cassidy. He ended up basically having Claudio take Wheeler Yuta down and made it seem like they were about to attack him in order to bait Cassidy out there. Cassidy did run out. Dark Order would run out. And then Darby Allin would drop from the ceiling. Top Flight would come out. And I was telling this to Tim. I was like, this is just an NWO storyline where literally Darby is Sting going against NWO. And
that's literally in your notes. You say Darby is Sting.
Darby Sting. He came down from
this the one? Dude, that was so bad.
And then Orange Cassidy is like DDP. He's been there a while. And, he's been a mainstay, the workhorse.
Yeah.
That's what this is to me. I can't help to see it any other way. As soon as I saw something online, like, this is what it's like.
Tony talked so much shit about how he was never going to let AEW become WCW. And in the end, that's what happens.
You know what? A funny thing that I saw was because you know how like certain things happen in AEW or like you can't like no one remembers it, and then they show like a very small detail that happened like I don't know months ago, and you're like, oh, that's the reason why. And it's like if people were like Vince and WWE or WWE at least will always think like the audience doesn't know anything, and they treat them like that.
You're an idiot, Tony, so we got to remind you of everything.
Yeah. But then Tony is like, the audience remembers every single detail of every minute of every show.
He's like, they got it.
He's like, they know. It's 6 months ago on a Tuesday. They know what happened.
Yeah, just like all I've said.
He books for the sickos.
He said he wasn't going to do what they did before.
I book for the sickos like
and
me.
He's doing exactly that. So moving forward after that, we had Private Party defeating the Young Bucks. Also
for
during this match, I believe for the titles, Nick Jackson got hurt. He hurt his shoulder. I believe that was a real injury. So they're going to be out for a little while, but they did show some sort of sign of respect to Private Party afterwards, and then they were seen backstage like shredding documents.
I don't know.
Right? Which is like, I don't know. It feels like they're tying up loose ends to that storyline of them that like never fully paid off.
Which one was that?
Of them, like, I know the whole EVPs, but they were like really in control before, and then it
Oh,
like
like
kind
taking
of like
over.
died down. Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
way the Young Bucks were shredding documents.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
door
Oh,
opened, and they were
God.
Yeah.
shredding all these documents, and then they quickly leave the arena and trying to, I guess, get away from. They don't want to be involved in this whole BCC thing.
Yeah.
And Brandon Cutler is seen running behind and being like, "Wait up, guys!" But he's too
Dude.
slow. He doesn't make it in time. Mox and the gang come and beat him up backstage and smash his hand with a hammer.
I gotta be honest. That makes me so mad. I gotta go get a Dr. Pepper about it. Sponsor us, Dr. Pepper.
But that's also one thing to know is that actually writes the Young Bucks off for a bit because they're actually going to take time off, I think. So
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering, like, would they have taken time off without the injury?
yeah, I mean, I feel like it was planned because that was like they lost the titles, but like I don't know. I don't know if it was because of the injury or not, but I'm kind of glad because they right now I don't feel like they add that much.
So after the private party Brandon Cutler segment, Tim watched this with me as well. Jericho came out with a learning tree segment and he promised to take ROH to new heights. He was wearing like a Halloween jacket.
It's awful.
He now the only thing I like about the gimmick is he's like, you know how I love my TV time. Or he's like, he's like, no offense to Mox, but AEW is where it is because of me. It's just like, or he's like, and if you don't think so, you don't know anything about the TV or wrestling business.
Yeah, it's like real literal.
Yeah.
Kind of like I don't know. It's pretty bad though. Like I don't know why Jericho's still on TV.
Thanks, guys.
After that, Chris Statlander would defeat Camille, Mercedes Monet's henchwoman. This would be her first loss. Afterwards, Mercedes would send her to the back and would attack Chris Statlander and say she's taking things into her own hands, pretty much. So it looks like that's the next feud for the TBS Championship. Main event was Swerve Strickland versus Shelton Benjamin. What were you saying about Shelton, Tim? Tim was like, Shelton Benjamin's huge.
Oh, he was fucking jacked, dude. He looked
He's
as big as
definitely gotten
Bobby.
bigger, I feel like in the past few years.
Well, speaking of Bobby, so MVP makes a call after the match.
That's
and the
why I
lights
was
go dark,
saying.
but then they
I was waiting. I didn't want you to bring it up yet because it hadn't happened. But that's what I was saying. He was as big as Bobby.
Well, we have talked about that. Bobby was apparently going to be all elite. But MVP makes a call on a phone after Swerve beats Shelton. And the lights go black, but then they come back on. It was almost like they fucked up the debut. And then they go black again.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then his music hit. And Bobby Lashley comes out. And he stares down Swerve. Shelton Benjamin distracts Swerve. When Swerve turns back around, Bobby hits him with a clothesline. And they take out Swerve and Nana.
Mm-hmm.
They attack Nana too. You heard my boy. But no, I mean, I think this is great. I'm really excited to see what are they calling themselves, the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, they haven't
Hurt
said it
Business?
yet, but
I think
feel
someone
next
saw it
episode.
on like a card.
Yeah, the very
MVP's
first
card.
time that MVP gave it to Swerve or Nana.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I thought it was a great gimmick when it was running hot in WWE. I really liked it. I will say it was one of the better things during the pandemic era.
Yeah.
During the Thunderdome.
Oh, the Thunderdome era. Whew.
During the Thunderdome era, the Hurt Business was one of the better things they had going on.
Yeah.
So I hope they book it right. But it looks like the next match, maybe Full Gear, Swerve versus Bobby.
Yeah, I hope they don't give it away on free TV on Dynamite.
Dude, I mean, you never know. They do like to.
Like when is Full Gear? The end of this month?
That's what I'm looking right now. The 23rd. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it's before
you got 3 weeks to
Thanksgiving,
build.
before that. Yeah.
You got 3 weeks to build the match.
Interesting.
But yeah, I was happy to see Bobby. I thought this Fright Night Dynamite again. The Dynamites have been better. I can't say the same thing about Collisions and Rampages, but the Dynamites
one show at a time.
yeah, the Dynamites have been all right. I can't complain too much lately.
Yeah, it's been more story.
I really don't have anything for Rampage, but a couple things for Collision. Moxley came out with Yuta and Marina cutting a promo again about Orange Cassidy and the people in the back. Action Andretti would grow some balls and come out by himself. They were in Philly. He kept saying how no one knows Philly like me. They didn't give a shit. They did not care about Action Andretti. Pac would come.
I don't think anyone has for months.
No. Pac would come and attack from behind, lead to a match between the two, which Pac would win. Orange Cassidy would come out, cut a promo, trying to basically turn Wheeler against Moxley. Moxley would end up slapping the shit out of Wheeler and tell him to go after Orange Cassidy, which Orange Cassidy would end up getting the better of him at the end. Now, if you remember, MJF said to Roderick Strong and Adam Cole, first to 3 wins, or whoever gets 3 wins first or whatever, get to face him. So Adam Cole just had 1 over Buddy Matthews, and then Roderick Strong just got 1 over Shane Taylor. So they're 1 for 1 right now. I don't know why they're competing against each other, even though they're in the same group, the Undisputed Kingdom, but I guess we'll have to see where it goes from here. I wonder if we'll get a triple threat or what. All right, so that's AEW for this week. Let's get into Raw, which Jey Uso would open up the show when he wanted to call out his brother Jimmy. Jimmy would thank him for helping out with the Bloodline the Friday before, in which Motor Machine Guns would win the titles. So we're talking about that. Because I think, was that when they No, they didn't drag Jay out that week. That was
No.
the week before. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Jay cut a really good promo here, though.
Yeah.
I thought.
Jay and Jimmy,
Yeah.
They talked a little bit about the history and the last time they saw each other, which was like WrestleMania
Yeah.
and their match.
And I like how Jay was like, they're different, they're independent wrestlers now. It's basically what he was like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Jay and you're Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, but we can be the Usos again.
Yeah. Shortly after that, Sammy was seen backstage talking with Jay and Jimmy, which Sammy a little confused of why Jay's doing this, and still has to squash some beef with Jimmy. Apparently, things are not too good with those two. Which is funny because if you remember when Sammy first started coming around, it was Jimmy was the one that was all about Sammy being around, and Jay had to come around to him. And then it ended up flipping, and then everyone left the group. Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed would have a brawl in the parking lot, which would last for a couple minutes, going through tables, going off of trailers. These guys just keep beating the shit out of each other like every week.
I mean, it's fun to watch.
Usually. It is.
So.
It is. And it would culminate at the pay-per-view. I did show Tim this just because I wanted to watch it again. This backstage segment with R-Truth. Miz wanted to talk to him, and he said he apologizes, wanted to get Awesome Truth back together. And R-Truth would end up slapping the Miz down to the ground. And he said, "Good luck with the Wyatts. Y'all gonna die." And then he walks away, and he sees Pete Dunne. He says, "Butch, have you seen Pete anywhere?"
Butch, you seen Pete anywhere?
You seen Pete anywhere? He was a crazy dude.
That's funny.
And then the main event was Dominic Mysterio ended up defeating Damian Priest, of course, because of the Judgment Day, in order to earn a title shot at Gunther. Those plans would change, which we'll get into next week. But Priest afterwards is pretty dick tough about the whole thing and ends up beating Dominic after the match, as well as Carlito. Everyone's saying they think Carlito's going to get kicked out of the Judgment Day soon. You think that's happening?
I think so. There's been sort of signs of it, and it kind of makes sense. I think because Carlito, I don't even know why he's there, but
my friend Corey is he's the worst. I was like, dude, he makes me laugh. But
he needs to go back to his Apple gimmick where he spits in the face.
Just be a single star again.
People who don't want to be cool with him, but yeah.
SmackDown
Tim,
this week. Tim, what?
What Carlito used to say.
He said, "I spit in the face. People who don't want to be cool."
Hate the accent.
That's what he sounds like.
Hate that you have to do the accent.
I don't want to be cool. And then he would go up to people. He would go up to people and say, "That's not cool." And then he'd take a bite of the apple, and then he'd go.
And then remember, he
Yeah.
almost killed John Cena in a storyline. Apparently, when remember he stabbed him.
Yeah, I remember that. But remember in the nightclub,
Like a nightclub.
Stabbed John Cena.
he stabbed John Cena in the nightclub. That's when
John Cena?
that's when like rappers were like
Stabbed
getting
John
into
Cena?
like crazy beefs. I think that was probably a P Diddy thing, to be honest with you. When J-Lo was like hiding the weapons or something. But what is it? But yeah, what does he do?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Just very important we say allegedly. Sorry, J-Lo. So what does he do? He goes, he's like, "That's not cool." No, that
He spits.
is cool. After he spits the apple.
All right, let's get into Enough about Carlito. Let's get into SmackDown. SmackDown was pre-taped because, they do this every time they go over to Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Nia Jax would open up the show. She would make her way to the ring for her face-to-face confrontation with Liv Morgan, who's her Crown Jewel opponent. She would give a brief promo about getting everything she wants. She would cite back to winning the championship as well as winning Queen of the Ring. This is when Liv would come out. Tiffany Stratton would also come out with her briefcase and said she was open to cashing into either woman, which just kind of ticked off Nia Jax. But segment ended with Tiffany knocking Morgan off the apron and asking for the referee to come out, which they would have a match in which Liv Morgan would win. Then we had Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns in the ring, calling out Jey Uso in order to settle their differences. Jey would come out, says he's only doing this to get back at Solo for costing him the Intercontinental title. But his issues with Roman are far from fixed. Jey would say that he wants the three of them to be equals, and if Roman puts him down, he's out. Roman would end up grabbing the mic, and all he would say is yeet.
Yeet.
Which would get a huge pop. And then people, I think, were chanting "hug it out," but that did not happen. Jimmy Uso put up the one, then Jey put up the one, and then Roman put up the one.
So they're all equals, apparently.
I'm surprised this didn't end the show, but I get why, because of the tag match that happened at the end, which was Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes teaming up to face Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. Cody and Randy would end up winning. Afterwards, Kevin Owens would attack Randy with a chair, while simultaneously Gunther would choke out Cody. And that would lead us into Crown
Jewel. The one I look forward to the least.
I've seen better.
Yeah. I think
Better.
this might have been the worst this year. Like the worst PLE. As much as I hate to say that.
What'd you say? My stuff completely cut out. I think.
I was like, Andy, you good?
I got McDonald's.
I was
in
like,
there,
don't
so
leave us
sometimes
again.
You gotta bear with me.
That's all right.
You said I think.
I was
what?
just saying this is the worst PLE this year.
Yeah. I don't know why, but maybe we'll just figure out why as we go. So it opened up with Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Roman Reigns teaming up with each other against Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. In the end, Solo, Tama, and Jacob would win. So this match, it took a while for Roman to get tagged in. They were kind of like holding off on Jey, tagging in Roman. He finally did. But my biggest, I enjoyed the match most of the way through, but I was watching it with Tim, and do you remember the ending felt abrupt? We were like, what?
Yeah, it was one of
Roman
those
got
matches where I
pinned?
felt like it never got into like gear really, and then all of a sudden it was like this is the end.
It's just we were like, what? It ended like that? Like Solo pinning
Yeah,
Roman cleanly?
yeah,
I know
yeah.
there was shenanigans, kind of, but like
But it's pretty clean for
me
like
and
a
Tim were just
solo
surprised.
win.
Do you
Yeah,
remember, Tim, your reaction?
I had kept saying during the match, I said, "What if Solo just wins clean right here?" And then like it actually like happens, and I was like, "Whoa!"
yeah,
And I was like,
It's
"That
just
was
what
weird."
he
And
gave
then
him like what 2 spikes, something 3?
yeah. It wasn't anything like super crazy either, right?
No.
yeah, I mean nothing.
Yeah.
I think all Roman's partners were hurt on the outside, and then they just like took advantage of
Yeah,
Roman. I think is what
yeah,
happened. But afterwards there was a beatdown. Sami Zayn would end up coming out, who I guess I forgot to write down. On Monday, Jay and Jimmy saw Sami talking with Solo in the parking lot. I wasn't sure what was being said, but it made it seem like he was hinting at being on Solo's side. So Sami came out there. I guess people weren't sure what was going to happen. He ended up going after Solo and helping out the OG Bloodline team. He goes for a haluva kick, and I forget who moved out of the way. It might have been Solo, but it ends up hitting Roman instead.
Mhm.
So there's going to be issues there, but y'all have
yeah.
predicted the Honorary Usos is going to
Honorary
come back.
oops.
So the question is,
Yeah.
who becomes member number 5?
It's
How
a
does
tough
Cody?
one.
Does Cody come back in?
I don't think it can be Cody, right?
So then who?
I don't know who. Like, there's not another family member, right?
Well, let's see. Both sides need another member, right?
Yeah, they
You're
need
gonna
5
have The
and
Rock
5. Yeah.
or Zilla Fatu or someone.
Well, The Rock.
I did it for The Rock. I did it.
No, Rikishi is not coming.
Is it? No. Okay, just wondering.
Rikishi?
Just one.
Rikishi, Undertaker, Rikishi.
No, but if you have The Rock, since the whole feud with Cody, you have to have Cody.
I guess yeah, that would make sense to have Cody, but it just feels weird, like to have.
Who's he going to
Cody.
feud with though? There's no one. There's no one going after his title right now.
Yeah,
We know who's going after Gunther's title.
yeah, we do.
Punk, my boy, Punk.
Punk, my boy.
Mr. Punk,
Sponge
sir,
not
I'd
me,
like
boy.
to tell you, sponge me, boy.
We're not doing that. We're not going down.
Shout out to Meat. Shout out to Meat Canyon.
Get an endorsement from me.
Tim, what is the sound of those like in the other video that the girl makes when she's drinking the pumpkin spice?
She's like, hang on.
Oh my god.
Ah!
I hate the sound of that.
All right. Well,
And then she
my
turns
prediction
into a pumpkin.
is Cody and or Rock and Cody
My pumpkin
Next
spice.
Pumpkin spice. Andy's like,
What?
Rock and Cody being
Yes.
the next members.
I mean,
Yeah.
I agree.
I also agree.
Hear ye, hear ye. All right. Next match was the Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Lash Legend, Jakar Jackson, and Io Sky and Kairi Sane. All right. A lot of moving parts in this match. I thought they did a good job. Again, I say it every time.
Yeah.
I feel like a broken record being like, that's my reaction to matches when it's so many, like, even a singles Fatal 4-Way. I'm just like, it's a lot going on.
It's a lot of
people
people.
are like waiting around for spots.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like next to the ring, like waiting, like right now.
I hate yeah, I hate when you can see them like in the camera view of them
like
just
hiding.
waiting. Yeah.
In the end, though, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill would end up retaining their titles.
Did they start a tease with splitting them at all? Do you think here?
Here on Crown Jewel,
Yeah. Wasn't it here?
they teased it tonight as we're watching.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
They
Never
teased
mind.
it like an hour ago. After this, we had Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins. This match was fun.
Yeah, I thought that was really fun.
Bronson Reed, they booked him basically as like a guy that can like withstand anything during this match. I thought he shined. I thought it was the best Bronson Reed match I've seen. Him with Seth Rollins. It was. I mean, it felt like they beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like I'm really liking Bronson Reed's matches right now because that's what he just does. Well, like himself and the other person.
Well, on commentary they said that like he showed that he can hang with like main eventers, and I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that after this.
I think so too. He's a big guy who can move pretty well too.
He's fun to watch. I'm still not big on like when they do big guy versus big guy, like him versus Braun. Though they like made that kind of fun. Like I enjoy like this, like a Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. I thought it was done really well.
Yeah, only once in a while for like that big guy versus big guy, like with the Braun one, like that was fine. But I don't want to keep seeing it.
Yeah. After this, we had the Women's Crown Jewel Championship match, Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan. During the match, Tiffany Stratton would end up coming out, trying to cash in. I really thought they were going to finally pull the trigger. They did not.
I know. Tim, we can't hear anything you're saying.
Can't hear a damn word. But what? It sounded like he was mocking me for being like, "It's time."
Yeah,
we were watching it. He was mocking me there, being like, "Oh," Andy was like, "It was time. It was time." Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I was sitting
the
there.
whole time, Andy's like, "Dude, it's time." She's cashing in, and that never happened.
It's time.
I feel like the window's getting smaller and smaller of when people are gonna like give a shit.
Well, it's like I feel like it goes past like 3 different windows where it's like everyone's expecting it and it's gonna be good, and then it's like getting to this point where it's like we're like don't really care anymore. But then it'll get to another point of like everyone forgets, and then it's a huge surprise and it's nice.
I think it's gonna be on Nia because they've been teasing her being such a bitch to her and belittling.
Yeah.
her.
Well, I don't feel like it'll be Liv. Like Liv, I honestly thought she would lose the title by now, but she's actually had a lot longer reign than I thought.
Stuff.
Yeah,
shows you how strong the Judgment Day can be. With, popularity.
Yeah, so I think
it'd
definitely be on Nia.
I should say, on Tuesday, Raquel and Liv took Rhea out at NXT. This was because Rhea, I believe, fractured her orbital bone.
Yeah.
Some people were
also
saying it was from a headbutt the week before.
This is the match where like Liv, so basically they won like that Crown Jewel championship, right?
Gigantic.
That's like half, like the whole side of the
belts are like 2 belts.
It's crazy. It looks so stupid how big they are. It's like cartoonish.
So yeah, I don't even know if I said the winner. Liv would end up winning. They don't get to keep the belt. The belt stays in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Now I'll just spoil it. They do get to keep. Think of the Dynamite ring. They get to have a ring that looks just like that.
All right, I'm thinking.
Liv came out tonight with it on. Liv came out with the Dynamite ring on, basically. It's the Crown Jewel ring.
Yeah.
They each get that, and that's what they get to bring back to the States.
I just don't like things like that, especially when it's like because it's a Saudi Arabia thing and it's all that. So
Yeah, we'll
I'm
get
with you.
into
I'm with you,
the
Jerry. Bear.
celebration at the end.
Yeah.
The celebration at the end.
Andy said, "You think Punk's coming out tonight?" I said, "No fucking way, is Punk coming out."
No, he's not going to Saudi Arabia.
It's the same
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
It's the same guy
I
that
was
told
hoping Brock was going to come out for the Gunther match, but
but Punk's the
Yeah,
same guy that
Rock's not
told
coming.
Miz to take his douchebag blood money. I was like, "Ain't no way Punk coming out."
Yeah.
And if he
now
does,
him and Miz are cool.
I'm like, if he does, I'm like, damn, that's a crazy turn of events. But I knew he wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens.
Owens.
Owens
Sounds so
versus
proper
Randy
now.
Orton versus Randy Orton. It never happened. They started fighting and
Never happened.
destroying things and fighting into the stands. It was a no contest brawl. Do you like that they did this? Do you not like that they did this?
I if they were gonna do this, I wish they just made it like a no, like a, I don't know what, like a no DQ or something like that.
But then there would have to have been a winner.
I mean, not to sound like a
Yeah.
not to sound like a dickhead, but I mean, I'm glad it wasn't like an actual like pay per view that people care about, that or PLE that
Yeah, that's true.
people care about. Like, no
Man, we
offense
just
to
lost
the
off all
Crown.
of our Saudi Arabia.
Whatever, dude. I'm sorry, dude. Like, it's
I'm just
like
kidding, I don't think we had a
That's-
single one. But
I think that's okay if we have offense to them.
I mean, dude,
they ain't paying us.
If we get that blood money, it might change.
pay per view's hard,
This be
dude.
my full-time
Every
job.
year it's an eye roll, and everybody feels the
I
same.
This is
know.
the second time. Remember, they went for King and Queen of the Ring. Just
Dude,
no
when they
That's
announced
true.
the belts for the Saudi Arabia pay per view, dude,
Oh.
everybody was trying to be like so polite, and everybody just was like, okay. They were like didn't want to boo, but they were just
balloon
like,
deflated.
like Triple H was out in the
No.
ring, and everybody thought it was the Winged Eagle, and then they showed that,
Yeah.
and everybody was just like, okay.
Everyone's like, "What the fuck is this?"
All right, 2 more
That
matches.
was on a pay per view too. I forgot
when they showed it.
because they were like Triple H has a huge announcement, like sort of thing. I was like,
I was
"Ooh,
like, should have saved it for Raw.
yeah."
United States Championship match: LA Knight versus Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. I like this match. I like all three guys.
Yeah.
Andrade crushes. Carmelo Hayes is young and upcoming, and I think he's really good. I'm a fan of his finisher, though. Like Matt
His
Hardy and
finisher's
Hulk
so cool.
Hogan, he's gonna fuck up his tailbone doing these fucking leg drops, man.
We talked about it, dude. It's the dumbest move that fucks people up so bad. It's just the
It
compression
seems
of
so dumb, but it's
it's
just
the
like,
compression of the
Yeah.
discs on your spine over the years of doing it. It doesn't look like anything crazy. It's just so bad for you.
and he's doing it from the top rope, unlike
Oh.
Hogan, who did it from.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's definitely gonna.
I mean, Matt Hardy did too, but Carmelo's like jumping way higher.
Yeah, I feel like Matt Hardy was already like his legs were. How? What are they?
He calls them the Jimmy legs because they were like inverted.
Like he already had issues there.
But I like this match. Carmelo and Andrade had a feud going on, and it was always to get to see who faces LA Knight, and that's how this turned into a triple threat. LA Knight would win with a double BFT. And I think he would end up pinning Carmelo, if I'm not mistaken, and not.
Yeah.
So, don't know where these guys go from here. It seems like every week they were booking Andrade and Carmelo in a one-on-one match, but you can't. This would have been, if they do it again, it's match 8. You can't do it again.
Yeah, like what are you, best out of 10 now?
Yeah, you can't do it. And then our main event, probably the best match on the show,
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. Old school wrestling. Hard hitting.
I love this guy. I loved this two guys dressed in suits, the belt. This was some
They weren't in suits out there, but
night.
that's what Tim keeps saying. They were dressed in suits.
Dressed in suits. Dude, they're dressed in suits.
Like they came out in suits and they're like,
Dressed-
all right, hold on. I gotta take this off.
Dressed to the nines. This was 1985 NWA Jim Crockett Promotions wrestling right here.
So
they pulled down the straps.
Dude, they came out in
how'd you feel
suits.
about-
They had the tights under the suits.
How'd you feel about how it ended? It wasn't a super. It's not like someone hit the finishing move and pinned him like super cleanly. Pinned him cleanly.
It was the roll up, right?
Pinned him cleanly. So Cody jumped off the rope for a Cody cutter. Gunther caught him into a chokehold, and into a chokehold from behind. Cody flipped over, and it was into a pin.
I mean, I feel like that makes sense because both these guys are kind of like, they like old school stuff like that.
But it's not like Cody hit the crossroads, pinned him. It's not like Gunther hit the powerbomb and pinned him.
And what was really cool is
I think he beat Brock the exact same way. Similar,
but
to it.
Gunther gave him
He rolled him up.
Gunther gave him the handshake at the end.
Yeah, so there was a sign of respect afterwards between them. I mean, who knows what was really said between them afterwards, but I think fans, at least I have, I've been wanting to see this match ever since they became the last two guys in the Rumble, Cody's first Rumble that he won.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets down to the last two guys and they only get a few minutes to like do stuff. They were in there a while, just them two. It was like half a match.
Yeah. I wish that this match didn't have to happen here though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day at Survivor Series, you had champ versus champ.
Yeah. And like that would have been an amazing crowd they would have had too, and
maybe they're doing it because Cody's entering War Games.
You know what? Honestly,
after Gunther.
Honestly, I'm not even favoring America. Like, fuck everywhere else. Just do all pay-per-views in France from now on.
Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, wasn't too hyped on this crowd.
No, this crowd sucked.
And then secondly, when they were awarding Cody the belt, the whatever high ups,
Prince,
they like stayed away from Liv Morgan and like wanted to only hold up Cody's hand, and they just kept like pivoting around Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan had to hold hers up while they were like holding it with Cody. There was like another guy that could have held up Liv's hand.
Yeah,
their two wives were in the ring. This is so weird.
I hated
Me
that.
and Tim were making jokes like when Triple H was like hugging Cody. He's like, just fucking do what they say so we can get home, and they don't just make us stay here. We just get back.
He's like, hold the belt up so we can get on the plane and get out of here. All right, don't make a big deal out about anything.
Just smile, do a couple turns, and get us home.
Yeah. I also like. I know Andy. I was telling you before we started recording, but I hate that they have like the couches in the crowd and everything, and like there people are just like lounging around.
Worse. They still do, but
I know it used to be worse, but like it's still like I don't know, not a crowd that's like just there to see wrestling.
Oh yeah, I know.
I feel like they've gotten better. Like almost the first few times that they were like forced to go, almost like they were like go watch this.
Forced to go.
And now
you have to watch this attraction.
Yeah, and now I feel like they're kind of like, okay, we actually know what's going on, so they're like more into it. But again, it's just like I don't know. It's just weird. I don't like when wrestling gets into. You can say that it's not political or whatever, but to me, it feels like it is. I don't like when it gets involved in the like world like politics.
Yeah, they start doing like those ads for them. They're like wherever they were in Jeddah or whatever it was. They're like did like a whole video package for it, and like this place is amazing and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's a bit much now.
It's like just go do the show there, whatever, dude. Like it is what it is,
Yeah, nothing ever really happens on that show.
It's just annoying. Okay. It's just annoying. No, I just like. Well, the reason why Crown Jewel is annoying is because it is important for no reason. It was forced. Yeah. It was forced to be important to everybody. It has no stakes. it's literally just basically like, hey, this guy has a lot of money, so we have to like do this big WrestleMania like size show. So you're watching all this glitz and this glam and like all this stuff, but it just feels like hollow. It's just like an empty. It just feels like an empty show that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's actually part of the canon WWE like lore.
No.
You know what I mean? Like the canon WrestleMania like
This,
year.
yeah, it's like exactly what you said. Like, it feels like this is always a show you're like, I guess this is the time of year we have to do this now, and then it doesn't there's nothing that lines up with it really.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. And like Andy said, they don't even get to take the belts home. They're never going to talk about these belts until next Crown Jewel. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, like, I think it's the same thing with the Owen Hart tournament. Like, these belts that you only talk about once a year. It's just like silly. I don't know. Do we want to do a classic show of the week this week?
It's up to you.
Do you have one?
That was the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, and that's all I got, at least.
Also, I'll just say real quick, well, I know we're wrapping up now, but this, I guess, is technically here in the U.S. our Election Day special
It is.
episode.
Yeah, you know, wherever your heart feels that your vote needs to go to, it's important in this country. You know, we're here in the U.S. It's important to go vote. So go let your voice be heard. Participate, and you know, let the best person in the end win, fair and square, without any sort of weird stuff going on. So, you know, get to the polls. Make sure that you are active participant in a very big part of our country's history. And you know, we appreciate you all very much for listening to us even take a couple minutes to talk about that. I do want to do a quick classic show of the week because my wife would be like, yeah, right. My daughter and I did watch this today. She actually asked me today. She said, "Dad, can I watch Hulk Hogan?" And because I have these big Hulk Hogan rubber wrestlers in my room from the 80s, and I always say, well, if she's like, "Cuz can I play with your toys?" And I'm like, you know, a lot of my stuff is like collectibles, but I always give her the Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man, the rubber LJNs, so she can like bash them together and wrestle them. So today she was like, "Dad, can I watch Hulk Hogan wrestling?" And I said, "Okay." So I put on Andre and Hogan at WrestleMania 3. I brought down my Hasbro WWF toy ring and let her play with all the guys. She'd have been at a big Royal Rumble. It's the first time she ever asked to watch wrestling. So as an inaugural thing to get her into it, I brought that down. And so as she played with these wrestlers, she watched WrestleMania 3, and these are the matches. So you had Rick Martel and Tom Zink against Bob Orton and Don Morocco with Mr. Fuji, Billy Jack Haynes against Hercules, Hillbilly Jim, Haiti Kid against King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, I don't like that name. And
Tokyo, are you kidding me?
yeah, and Lord Littlebrook. I feel like I don't like that name either.
Oh my god.
Harley Race against Junkyard Dog. Those are two legends right there. You got Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake against Jacques and Raymond Rougeau. Roddy Piper against Adrian Adonis. Danny Davis, who did a lot of training, and the Hart Foundation against Tito Santana and the British Bulldogs, 6-man tag. Butch Reed against Coco Beware, two classic names. Getting to the end here, Ricky Steamboat against Randy Savage, which is one of the best wrestling matches ever. And if you've never seen that match, you know, from a worker standpoint, it's absolutely incredible. Honky Tonk Man against Jake the Snake Roberts. with Alice Cooper being in Jake the Snake's corner. Very odd. Last two matches, the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov against the Killer Bees. And the final match of the night, which is what is the whole reason why we're all here, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship in front of 93,000 people, brother. Before we
wasn't that sorry, real quick, wasn't that like the number like not confirmed? Because that was in the Vince doc, right? And
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
saying 93, and then it got to Hulk Hogan, and like everyone was saying 93,000. He goes like 93,142, and like we were like, why did he add 142 people to this?
Dude, he's the funniest.
He just lies
person.
about everything.
But we just want to thank you so much for listening to episode 173. And before we head out, if you don't mind going to youtube.com/the PW Fan Pod, where you could please subscribe. That really helps us out. And for all other social media like TikTok, X, that we don't use very often, and Instagram, please just look up at the PW Fan, where we should pop right up. We thank you all very much, and we will see you next week. Go enjoy wrestling. Go vote.